Hello, beautiful. I am excited to be teaching you or showing you today on how to do a spinning invert up high on the pole, and this time we will be spinning forward. In the last video I already explained how to do a high spinning invert, spinning backwards, so with your back right where you want to look over your shoulder and actually invert. But today we'll be spinning forward, which is a little bit harder for me personally. That's why I'm teaching it today, but maybe you find it more easy. Both is fine. But before we get into it, you need to get warmed up. And I will show you what it looks like to do a high invert on spinning forward. Now, there are not so many secrets that I can unfortunately let you in on today, but there is one. So now as we're spinning, right, our body is basically being pushed out of the pole. So what we want to take care of is that we're sticking close to the pole as we want to invert. Now, our regular invert is we're prepping ourselves, strong hold grip, and our hips are basically just facing forward and we're inverting, right? Now, trying to do it the exact same way is going to be really hard on spinning, because as your hips are facing forward, you're extending the outside leg outward. It just wants to fly away from you. So the one thing I want you to remember today, and I'm going to show it to you, and I will give you 3 exercises at the end of this video that you can incorporate into your training before or after as a conditioning. The one thing I want you to know and really ingrain into your heads, because it's going to save so much effort, so much energy when you're trying to invert on spinning, is that you want to bring the outside leg into your spinning direction. So instead of spinning and trying to invert to the complete opposite side, you actually want to bring your leg in and let it be directed by the natural flow. And the natural flow is a circle. It's a circle, and it's not like edgy something that just goes out every way possible, but it wants to stay in. And that's exactly what we're going to do when we're invert spinning forward. It really makes a big difference. So the setup is to go into your strong hold grip here. Hips are going to be in front of the pole, right? But the only thing that's different here is, again, that we're not trying to invert like that, but we're trying to invert like that. Do you see the difference? Instead of going like full out, we actually want to flare our legs out like that. It's going to make such a difference. I know it's so like, what am I supposed to do? But it's going to make so much sense as you get into it. So again, the setup, you go into your strong hold right here. And then what you want to do is you really want to think about squeezing your outside hip and your outside rib together, so that from here, you're actually creating this contraction, which brings that outside leg into the pole. Okay, so from here, you're squeezing like that. So once you're there, you want to start bringing yourself down a little bit. All at the same time, you bring that knee that is on top outside so that you can actually open up. Nice. So yes, this costs a lot of like core tension, but it definitely saves you up on a lot of energy when you're not trying to invert the regular way, right? And it's also going to look so much more pretty because you're really following the direction of the spin, and at the same time you are keeping the bottom leg straight and creating this like flare out, right? So you have a bent leg and then you flare it out. Obviously, you can invert spinning forward with both legs bent. And obviously you can also invert forward with both legs open. Now both bent is the easiest version, one bent, one open is the middle version, and both open is the hardest version. But it doesn't matter what kind of variation you're choosing, you always want to bring your hips into spin direction. You're kind of like closing it off to the pole before you open them up again. Nice. So now that you've got the dynamics down, how the hell are we gonna do it up there? Now, as I also said in the previous video, spinning backwards, you can obviously start from the ground up, where you can sort of like have a little hop to bring you up. So how do we prepare for this? You want to grab a little bit higher. The normal way to invert is grabbing at chin height, right? So for this, you want to grab a little bit higher. And what I love to do, maybe you have a different preference here. What I love to do is to give myself momentum by actually jumping up with that bottom leg, that outside leg. And only when I'm already sort of like jumping, I'm gonna grab up. This is what it looks like. Now, this is starting from the floor, but obviously this is not always possible. We want to climb. We want to go up. We want to, dance it out. There's like a little beautiful twist that we can take here, because if you want to invert on the right side, what you want to do in your climb is to actually have the left foot in front and the right one behind. So when you're here, other side, when you're here and you want to invert, is that you are actually taking this leg and you spin it around. So you want to have your left foot in front so that you can spin it around and follow the natural flow of the invert, of the spin again. Now, if you have the wrong feet in front, it's still going to work, it just doesn't look quite as pretty. Yes, there's a little bit of thinking involved to be like, do I want to invert on the right or do I want to invert on the left? If you want to invert on the right hand is on top. If you want to invert on the left hand is on top. And if you want to invert from a climb, make sure inverting right, left foot is in front, inverting on the left, right leg is in front. Beautiful. So the most important thing is, again, remembering where are all of my body parts situated, because before you want to invert, you actually want to bring your bum in front and your hands basically placed the right way, and feet as well. And the other thing that you really want to take care of and put inside of your mind is that you want to create this little ball and bring that outside leg into the direction of the spin and not outside of it. Now, as promised, the 3 little conditioning exercises, and I'm gonna go from easiest to hardest. So if the last one is still out of your reach, don't panic, stick with the latter ones. So the first one is rather obvious, but you want to come into your invert position, strong hold grip, and from here, having your weight on the inside leg, you simply want to lift yourself up just a little bit and bringing this contraction, right? Having this contraction and bringing that outside leg over into the spinning route. So now you can obviously do this on static, you can do this on spinning, it doesn't really matter too much. Beautiful. So all you want to do, bringing yourself up. Beautiful. Let's do it a couple of times. As much as you want, you can start with 3, right? And then basically progress from there. And then obviously doing it on the other side as well. Now, it is normal that while you're doing this, that your hip is going to slip away just a little bit. But that's okay, because you don't want to invert straight up, but you want to sort of like invert leaning over, right? So now your push point is no longer going to be here, but it's going to be here because you're pushing away from that side and up. Beautiful. Now the second exercise is doing the same thing, but you already want to open your legs up. Now you can do this on static, coming down, like up and down all the time, or doing it on spinning in just like a continuous motion. And then on the other side, obviously. The last one is doing this total fan already up in the air, where you do the first step, then the second step, and then all the way down, so you can continue in this sort of like a Una spin somehow, but more of a drill. All right, these were my tips on how to actually progress on your spin up in the air towards the front. Now, if you want to check out how to spin to the back, check out this video here. And I'm going to be super excited to see you again. See you next time.